the truth coming out. People have been wondering, people been spectating. Stephen A. Smith. What happened to the Max Kellerman first take? Why'd you leave? Why he leave the show? So skip. Shannon Sharp. Stephen A. Smith went on the Joe Budden podcast and let it be known what really happened between him and Max.
I would take full responsibility for that. That's totally my fault.
Okay.
And the reason why it was my fault because I didn't like working with him, man. It's just that damn simple. I didn't like it. I thought the show was stale. I thought that we had flatlined when it came to the public at large, and I'm trying to win. I mean, I didn't want to go from number 1 to number 2 when Skip left. That's not what I wasn't having that. That shit was not going to happen.
Did anything in the numbers say that you might have been headed that way?
No, but to me it did.
Creatively?
To me it did, not just creatively, but the consistency of the number.
Got it.
In other words, it wasn't going this way.
Yeah.
It was just there. And not only that, it's like us being in this room right now. Come on, y'all. Y'all know the difference between something that's stale and something you pumped up for. You just know.
Absolutely.
And so,
streets. Max almost seems blacker than you, Stephen A. with what he's coming, with this commentary.
With all due respect, my brother.
I'm just saying, dog.
Wait a minute. Wait to finish.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna check you right now. You done crossed the line.
I'm just saying.
Time. Wait a minute. You done crossed the line.
Was that showing the tweets?
Yeah, showing the tweet. So if you didn't watch the Joe Budden podcast, so Stephen A. went on there talking about, the show. He already knew with the whole Max Kellerman situation. He already knew what was going to happen. He went to the show. He told him like, oh yeah, the show isn't doing good. I'm not telling you to fire Max, but I'm saying like, I'm going because I'm not here for no flatline Raiders. I'm only here to do the best. So people were saying like that was Stephen A. Flexing his weight around to get Max Kellerman off, but he's saying like I've been fired before in the past and nobody wanted me. I know how it feels to be blackballed, so I wouldn't do Max like that. And I already knew Max already had another show that's doing real good, and he's doing good at this also. So I'm gonna pitch this other stuff for Max. Make sure you get on that stuff. Make sure he's getting as much money as he did as he did in his first take, and then he can go. And that's what he did. So he's saying like he did good on his part because he made sure like Max had as much money that he's doing before. He wasn't gonna be starving or anything like that. So y'all shouldn't be throwing any shade on him.
He's still on ESPN, right, Max?
Yeah, he's still on ESPN.
He's on the other shows.
Yeah, he's on the other shows, and they're also saying like ever since that happened, Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith don't even talk anymore. Like they walk past each other, they barely even speak. But
hi.
If Stephen A. wants to go on the show, he can go in there and say stuff. But they just don't do that.
I don't know if he's gonna still let him to show after the way he slandered him on this. He was saying that they weren't growing, and Stephen A. is always like, I don't understand how he talks about always having the number one sports show. You're on ESPN. You're the number one sports show on basic cable. Everyone that has basic cable gets ESPN. Even if you have one of the apps like YouTube TV or one of the other ones, you get basic cable. So it's like, of course, ESPN is always it's a sports channel. It's always going to have the number one sports morning show, whatever morning show it puts on. FS1 is like the upgraded package on cable. And a lot of those like TV apps don't even have FS1 unless you get something upgraded. So, of course, it's not going to do it. I think what he didn't like is that when Skip left, that even though they weren't beating him on ratings on TV, that they were doing, Skip and Shannon were killing it as far as YouTube views. They had a lot of viral clips, a lot of viral TikToks, a lot of viral shorts. So they were killing it on that front. And also ESPN First Take, like he said, the ratings weren't really going up. It was kind of like plateaued at where it was at. So, and I don't understand how you blame it all on Max. I think Max had a lot of fans and said that he was really rational. But I think we have the real reason why. Oh, wait, did you get that clip?
What? Of which one?
Him and T.O.?
Yeah, the show him T.O. and yeah, he said Max is more black than Max
Oh,
Kellerman is more
that
black.
showed in this. Sorry, I took a bathroom break.
Yeah, Max Kellerman is more black than Stephen A. Smith, and
That
Stephen A. was
was
like, hold on.
hilarious.
I
It
didn't
made
even.
Stephen A. almost cry.
You know what's funny? Like Stephen A. had the same tough. I mean, this like tough relationship with Allen Iverson, and him and Allen Iverson like best of buds. Like he likes the tough love and all that stuff. But T.O., it's like he cracked and like just started crying like a little baby. Like T.O.'s always crying and whining. It makes no sense.
That's my quarterback, dog.
And then he ended up beefing with Donovan Knapp. He not even cool with him no more. But I mean, with this situation here. This situation here, he also talks about in the whole Joe Budden podcast interview how Shannon Sharp didn't want to leave Fox Sports. Fox Sports basically told him like, "Oh yeah, we're not doing this anymore. You can leave." And like he said, and Stephen,
why would Fox Sports want to leave?
I mean, they saying like it wasn't working anymore. So who knows? And
do you think that after Shannon kind of gave Skip the cold shoulder on a little bit of a miscommunication, that like Skip kind of told him that like, all right, we're ending this. Don't give him an updated contract.
He probably did. They just won't talk about it yet. And
I don't understand, man. They should have stayed. They were way better.
They were, and then also, remember when Stephen A. got fired? He remember like people tried to blackball him, so he's like, I didn't want the same thing to happen to Shannon. So as soon as we heard that happen, what I did was I threw a little word out there. I let him know like, we're interested in you over here, so that way it didn't feel like what he did. Because when Stephen A. got fired, nobody talked about Stephen A. Smith, so it was like he was blackballed for real until he found.
Where did he get fired from?
He got fired from ESPN.
Oh, and then he went back.
Yeah, he got fired from ESPN right in 2000. Right, I think right before the 2009 playoffs started, when the Lakers beat the Magic. So he got let go right when the playoffs from the start, and I don't know what he actually said to get fired. Like I guess he was feeling like he was bigger than the program, and now he came back. He all humbled himself. So. Now he's feeling like, oh, I can make ESPN money, so he's been doing that way. That's why he gets his whole little talk show, because Stephen A. has a talk show, his little talk show podcast, and people found out like that's kind of weird how you got your talk show podcast, but the whole no jumper situation happened where like you over here double dipping, you talking about sports over here and doing it over here, so you basically doing a competing company thing. But he's like, oh yeah, I make ESPN money, so they let me do what I want to do.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that he decided that he needed to do a podcast, because as far as I know, he was doing his First Take, and then he was also doing the Stephen A. radio show that was like on New York radio.
You see the money in it.
I thought that was like the podcast that he was doing, but I guess he didn't see that was like kind of limited and people didn't really listen to radio. So I guess he stopped the radio show and it's like, let me do a podcast as my second thing.
Yeah, he's trying to show his value, like how like Pat McAfee does. Like Pat McAfee signed on the ESPN, but the way his show is run is
doesn't even Skip Bayless kind of has his own podcast separated from Undisputed where he talks about that random stuff.
Yeah, but with the whole the Fox Sports, that's really what's his name, Colin Cowherd. That's Colin Cowherd and Skip Bayless.
Yeah,
they basically got the whole. They basically like, you watching it for them. Like they have the main shows on that show, so they run the Fox. So with him, like Stephen A's trying to show like, oh yeah, I bring value to this too. I got this podcast, so he's trying to do a whole Pat McAfee does. Pat McAfee has a show on ESPN now, so the whole thing is like. Pat McAfee's not going to come on ESPN. He's going to be doing the same thing he's already doing. He funds his Pat McAfee show and like he does all that stuff and like he gets a second showing on ESPN. That's what he's going to be doing now. Then on top of that,
a lot of people are worried because they like how freely that he talked, that with him getting on ESPN, which is owned by Disney, that he was going to be a lot more censored with his talk.
You see him on the college football. He does the college football thing. Every morning, I
don't really watch. I don't pay attention to college football unless it's Dion.
So I mean, so you see, so like the college football. So basically, like Pat McAfee does wrestling. He does the commentary on wrestling. He does the commentary on the NCAA college football game day in the morning. He's the main reason why you watch game day in the morning. He's the livest one. If you watch, I'm gonna start showing you. Like he's calling out everybody, but everybody likes him on that show. But he dresses up. He doesn't come out in an undershirt. like he does in his shirt, but he wears like a little more clothing. But and on the whole game day, he has like the big Texas buckles, like he has the big old buckle showing and everything. It's crazy. You'll like it.
You
But
stare at his buckle.
I love that buckle. But I mean, you know, we got this all going on. So comment below, let me know how you feel about this whole situation. This is beef over with. You know, should they go ahead and fight? Don't nobody really care about Max Kellerman. Is Stephen A. telling the